Frary,
Here.
Ms. McGinnis,
Here.
Mr. Dolman,
Here.
Mr. Trimarchi,
Here.
Mr. Green,
Here.
Mr. Hoke,
Here.
Chairman Goodman.
Here. The first order of business would be last month's minutes, but we were handed them this evening, so we can adjourn that until next month, or we can move forward depending on the pleasure of the board. Would anyone would like to comment as to what their view is of that?
I did, just for the record, I think a copy was circulated by email. I know I got a copy, so I had a chance to look at it.
I read it. I read it via email.
I'm fine with moving forward if somebody doesn't feel that way.
Okay.
I have no objection.
Okay.
I'll move that we accept the minutes.
I'll second it.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, if we could call the roll.
Mr. Frary,
Yes.
Ms. McGinnis,
Yes.
Mr. Dolman,
Abstain.
Mr. Trimarchi,
Abstain.
Mr. Green,
Yes.
Mr. Hoke,
Yes.
Chairman Goodman.
Yes, motion carries. The minutes are approved. If we could please call the first order of business.
The appeal of Corey Burnham of 11 Allendale Ave South, Niskuna, New York, for a variance from Section 220-18B3B, Section 220-15A4, and Section 220-13 Schedule IC of the zoning ordinance of the town of Niskuna to construct a 16-foot by 26-foot shed on the property noted above. The property is located in the CH Highway Commercial Zoning District. Section 220-18B3B states that the required side and rear yard dimensions for major accessory structures shall be the same as applies to the principal building. As defined, major accessory structures are detached accessory buildings or other structures in excess of 120 square feet. The shed at 416 square feet is a major accessory structure. Section 220-15A4 requires the minimum yard dimensions for a single-family dwelling principal building comply with the R2 zoning district. Section 220-13 Schedule IC establishes minimums for the R2 zoning district and side setback requirements as 15 feet. As proposed, the shed will be located 5 feet from the side property line. Therefore, a 10-foot side yard setback variance is required. 5 notices were sent out, 0 responses. The town of Colony responded and the county responded. Town of Colony said the town does not have any questions, comments, or concerns on this matter and defers to the town of Niskuna for your review. And the county, no significant countywide impact. Defer to local consideration.
I would ask if the applicant, if you could please state your name and address and just go over the application, your reasons for it, what efforts you made to mitigate the need of either a variance or the size of the variance.
Well, it's for my son's house, Corey Burnham. My name is Tim Burnham. And we want this bigger shed because of our ATVs and motorcycles and things. And we're ready to comply with whatever needs to be done.
Is there a reason you can't move it to 10 feet so that it doesn't need the variance?
Yes, the lot is only 37 and a half feet long. And we're putting in exactly where the other shed was. So
Is it on the exact same footprint as the other shed?
it will be right where the other shed was, but the other shed was only half that size.
Okay.
Not quite big enough.
And you can't move it to the side?
No, because like I say, the lot is only 37 feet wide.
Okay.
And we're putting in a 16-foot wide.
So this is off Route 5.
And we, like I say, if you see the picture, I think you have it. It shows the existing shed. And it's going to go right there.
And it's abutting a commercial property.
Correct.
On the right-hand side, it's a commercial property, the woodshed folks, right?
Yes,
And on the left-hand side,
is a church.
right? And is there, what kind of fence do you have on the commercial side?
The whole yard is encircled with a stockade fence.
And it's all the same fence,
Yes,
6 foot high?
yes,
Is the new shed going in the same place as the old shed?
exactly same place.
How long has the old shed been there?
It was there when the property was bought
When was that? Approximately.
in '06.
When you stand on the street and you look at the front of the house, can you see the shed?
You'd have to look. It'd be way in the back of the property.
Thanks.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Can you please step forward and just show me physically on this picture? I want to make sure I identify it properly. Where's the shed?
Yeah, it's right there.
That's the shed in question,
Right.
or that's the old shed.
That's the old one.
And the new shed extends roughly just farther back? Or does it extend farther forward this way? Because the drawing submitted isn't to scale. I want to make sure. It's fine. That's fine.
No, the shed right now is probably, we moved the shed already.
Okay.
Because we're gonna get rid of that.
Right.
And it's gonna be, this is where we need the variance, it's 5 feet here.
Okay.
We got 30 feet. On this side, right there.
This is your call.
Correct.
Okay.
But the photo that you have here, is that the old shed?
Yes,
Okay, and that's gone.
This is his
it's
house.
gonna go. We
The new
moved it.
shed's gonna be.
We need it for right now.
Okay. Then the new shed, is it going on the same footprint?
Yes.
Is it the same size?
No, it's bigger.
Bigger? Okay. I'm sorry, in what way? Is it?
I think this one here is like 12 by 14. And we want a 16 by 26.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Anything else?
Laura, do we have anything, if it was there in 2006?
Oh, building permit?
Yeah,
I didn't look.
We didn't look.
that's all right.
So I'm just trying to understand, is the current shed in compliance?
Oh, that's why.
Yeah,
We did not.
No.
the current shed is not.
Right, no, but he's saying he bought it in 2006.
Right.
Yeah, but
We
just
just,
trying to understand the situation.
No, it was there when we purchased. the
we
property.
didn't know
Understand.
if somebody had previously come in to, when they put the shed in, or they just put it in.
I mean, I came upstairs. You
No,
guys-
that's all right. That's all right.
I feel like it's kind of relevant.
So you're replacing your existing shed with a slightly larger shed that will
Correct.
extend closer to the back line, and that's why you require a variance,
It's closer to the sideline,
Sideline.
sideline.
behind the woodshed.
Okay.
Behind it, we have 30
Because of
feet.
the width. Sorry, okay, yep.
Does the property, I guess the shed does extend closer to the sideline than the existing shed does?
Well, that I don't know. I didn't measure the existing shed. We just got it out of the way.
Well, I'm just suggesting that the existing shed now is not in compliance. And if that was 5 feet away, then that wouldn't really be any difference in terms of the need for a variance.
No, it was probably within 5 feet there where the existing shed was. I'd say from the stockade fence to the shed was probably around 5 feet.
When you're standing in your backyard and you're looking in the area of where the old shed is no longer, and the area where you're asking for a variance for the new shed, is you're looking at the structure across the fence, what is that made of? The
Excuse me.
wood shed, what's the wall made of?
Oh, it's going to be steel.
Yep. And the wood shop people, what's the wall of their building made of?
Oh, well, it's brick and concrete.
Is there any
block.
windows in that area?
Well, they're high and they have stuff stacked in the windows. You won't be able to see out of them.
Got it.
Have you had any conversations? Have you approached them at all about the shed or said anything to them?
They know we're going to replace it. We didn't give them the dimensions of it.
They haven't
The
approached
guy is
you?
fine. He has no problems.
We got something from the town of Colony.
Yes.
I didn't see it in the packet, that's why I say. I didn't.
No, it was just a quick note
And that's because of the,
because the property split between the two.
okay.
Correct.
And that's why we went to the county for referral.
Okay.
Does he need zoning approval from Colony as well, or is it just because
The shed is in our,
it's in our town? Okay.
Right.
it's under our jurisdiction.
Colony's got weird zoning things anyway.
Well, half's in Colony and half is in Niskiuna. Of course, where we want the shed is in Niskiuna.
Doesn't matter. And you've got a picture, I think you gave us a schematic of your shed.
Right, that's approximately what it's going to look like.
Is the new shed going to be any higher in height than the old shed?
Yes,
About how much higher?
I'd say at least 3 feet.
How much of the top of the proposed new shed would be over the top of the fence?
I think the new shed is going to be like 8.5 to 9 feet tall, and it'll get a 6-foot fence.
And is it fair to say that the old shed is lived its useful life?
It certainly has.
Will this new shed look better in your
Well, of
estimation?
course, this one had snow caved the roof in, and trees falling on it. It's time to go.
Is the new shed going to be built on a concrete pad or something else?
I think that's going to be kind of expensive. We're thinking maybe crusher run, road material, or maybe we might put a blacktop pad down. Concrete is too expensive for us.
What's the old shed on?
Dirt. It
So
has a
the
wooden
founda-
floor, but,
So the foundation that you're proposing would be an improvement.
oh, definitely.
Can you use the old shed?
For scrap.
Can't store anything in it.
Oh, you can put stuff in it now, but, if you saw it, you would say, take it away.
I thought you said that the roof was caved in on.
Well,
the
we
old shed.
popped it back up and stuff so we could, put motorcycles in it for now, and
Can't get the ATVs in though.
now it's got to go.
So Keith, sorry. Oh, yeah. We have no record of the former shed. It's a little bit confusing because the house is in Colony. So I even looked in the tax rolls. We classify it as vacant land and it didn't receive a variance or a building permit for the pre-existing shed.
Looking at this tax map picture that they used, I'm assuming this is the tax map, but it looks like the house is half in Colony, half in Niskiuna.
And sometimes it's sort of a general line and it isn't quite right. And sometimes I think the town just says, it's just a tiny piece, Colony, you get the house, we'll get the backyard. But
I'm just looking at this line on the map here.
yeah, I just checked, we classified it as
Oh,
land.
okay.
We don't have any properties on it, structures on it.
Yeah, this is the one that you have here. It must be the Schenectady County one. And that shows half the house in Niskiuna, and the Colony map shows Colony, just a touch. Okay.
Yeah, I think the Colony map is accurate compared to how we value our portion of his property, and we're not
No matter
actually
what.
showing any structures.
Okay.
It's going to be in the skew.
But the portion that's in our town is zoned highway commercial zoning. It's not residential.
Any other questions from the board? Sir, do you have anything you wish to add?
No, it's up to you now.
I have to ask if there's anyone in the audience who wishes to be heard for or against, and if they, sir, you can come up, and then the other gentleman. You just come up and state your name and address for the record.
Yeah, my name is Paul Luskin. And I live on 26 South Fagan. And I have no problems whatsoever with them building a shed. Because there's a lot of things going on in that area. Dumpsters at 5:30 in the morning from Facillo, right in my bedroom window. That was all approved by whatever board was here at the time. Trying to sell my house. Can't sell it to somebody commercial because I have a house there. Call it residential, but it's in commercial. The only problem I have with the whole thing is that they have chickens And there's a rooster now that's grown up and he's crowing.
He's going.
Oh, And I can't deal with the dumpsters, the roosters, the chickens. We're trying to move out of there and our house is worth over $400,000 for a commercial piece. But they couldn't live there at the same time as what the lady that works in the building department tells all the people that look at my place. You can't live there and have a business there at the same time. And so I'm kind of like hard pressed on my property because we need to sell it. So this thing is not going to bother me, just the chickens and the roosters.
We've already been stopped by the town. Chickens gotta go.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's something that this board can't do anything about
Right,
tonight.
I'm just
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah.
It's, other than that, I don't care if they.
You're okay with the shed then,
They
though?
could have a business there for all I care.
Okay.
As long as they ride motorcycles up and have a big cool out party at 11 o'clock, because we have a church that has a rock and roll band in there, they vibrate our house.
Oh, yeah.
You know? So
We know that because we're right next door.
I just wish I could sell my place for what it's designed for, because I see a lot of things going on in the town that.
Chickens.
Yeah, okay.
stuff commercially and
They
residential.
approved the thing, they approved the thing. They approved
Yeah.
the thing at all.
Thank you.
We're gonna have chickens.
And sir, if you could come up, please.
Yes. My name's Harvey Lambeth, and I represent the Adirondack Woodshed, and I own that piece of property. I guess the number one question is the 5 feet from, is it going to be 5 feet from the property line, or is it 5 feet from the fence?
We're talking about his property line, not fence.
Okay, because the fence is actually 2 feet onto my property. So however that measurement is working, that I don't know, but I want to be sure to verify that it's on the property line. But also, I guess, secondly, I would almost prefer it to be on the other side of the property,
And,
closer to the church
Yeah.
versus closer to my structure.
and just so the board knows your reasoning.
For the view,
Okay.
because we do have windows on the backside. Yes, occasionally we have some furniture that blocks the windows, but the windows do have light coming through them.
Okay.
So it does become a visible sight.
Well, as I look at this schematic,
Mhm.
the shed, if it's placed in the location where it looks like it's being placed, is not next to your building. Is that right? The shed is here in this corner? That's where the shed is?
The shed would be, yeah, somewhere, it's 26 feet, so yeah, somewhere along that line.
Well, I'm sorry, can you do me a favor and come back up here? I apologize. And I'm gonna turn this around.
Sure.
No, one of you, go over to that.
You want both of us over there? Stay right here, okay.
I'm gonna be a traffic cop for a second. The dimensions again of the shed,
16 by 26.
okay. So that's 16 feet wide by 26 feet long.
Correct.
And your current shed is, you said,
I think it's 12. 10 by 12, 12 by 14 maybe, I'm not sure.
so you're another
10 feet.
10 feet. So
It won't be up near the
it
building.
doesn't appear that it's going to encroach up where your windows are actually facing the house, right?
Yeah, there's windows right here, windows here, and then windows there.
Windows on what is?
They're on the
The
back side.
back side of the structure,
Correct.
which is the side that is property.
Correct.
But if the shed, even the increased size on the shed doesn't encroach into the back corner of your structure, it's not going to affect the sunlight into your house, right?
No,
Oh,
no,
or excuse me,
not
your
into
business.
the warehouse now.
Okay.
No.
So is there any other issue in terms of, I understand what you're saying about the fence and whatnot, but unfortunately, we're just dealing with the shed issue. Is this a parking area that's
Yes,
on
it
the
is.
side? Okay.
Yes,
And putting the shed there is not going to cause any kind of adverse effect on your parking area, right?
no,
Okay,
no.
all right.
This is more of a visual. more of a visual, and when you walk out, this is where we load customers. And it's just a visual,
Okay.
just a visual aspect.
Question for the attorney, just for the record, I want to make sure that what we're discussing here is variance based on the property line and not for wherever the fence is.
Correct.
Okay, I just wanted to state that for the record for everyone involved and make sure everyone's making decisions and protests based on that. Thank you.
Okay.
So if the fence is 2 feet on your property, if I'm not
That's
saying
a
it
totally
is,
separate matter.
then it would be 7 feet from the fence.
Correct.
We can still do that.
Okay.
Sir, do you agree that the fence is 2 feet on his
I have no
property?
idea. I know him, so if he says it is, it probably is.
If I have a survey to show
Okay.
that,
Okay.
But we'll do 7 feet from the fence.
so I'm comfortable with that.
Great.
All right.
I guess one other question I have is this is probably down the road. Are you going to be looking to put a driveway in?
No,
Okay.
no, that's why we want it on that side, because the other side is only, there's only this one.
I know there's only that much, and that's why you want to do it on the other side. And that's one of my concerns. Are you going to be looking to put a driveway in along that side that goes, that accesses the backyard?
Everything we put in there would be ATVs, you know what's there.
I know it's there, yes.
Gotta do inside.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else wish to be heard for or against the application? Sir, having heard the comments, is there anything you wish to add? Any questions from the board based on the comments which have been made? Hearing none, I would ask if anyone wishes to make a motion.
I'd like to make a motion. I'd like to move that we approve the application for the variance. My reasoning for that is first off that the benefit sought cannot be achieved by anything, by other means. Sounds like the current shed is just not going to provide any benefit. It does not seem that this will create an undesirable change in the neighborhood. This seems to be appropriate to the way the lot is zoned commercially, et cetera. I don't find this to be a substantial variance based on the fact that there's already a shed in place. I don't see any reason, nor have I heard any testimony that there will be an adverse environmental or physical impact. This is self-created, but that is not necessarily determinative. And for those reasons, I move that we accept the motion or approve the motion for a variance or approve the variance.
Motion has been made. Is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
I'll second it. It was a duel.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there discussion on the motion? Hearing none, I would ask if we could call the roll, please.
Mr. Ferrari?
I'm going to vote yes, and I'm going to add an asterisk to my vote of yes, acknowledging both neighbors' acquiescence to the placement of the shed, but also acknowledging that the applicant has indicated affirmatively that A, he is not intending to put a driveway or other vehicular access to this shed as concerned to the business next door. And B, while it is not within our purview, certainly I think it's relevant that no chickens. So I think the agreement of your neighbors to acquiesce to your request and their willingness to agree that it's within the character of the neighborhood to have that put in with that proviso, while it's not enforceable, certainly I think it's should be stated on the record. I would also acknowledge that this is, I don't know when we've ever had something spanning the two towns to come in front of us. It's a unique property.
It's these properties that are kind of stuck or smack in the middle of a commercial district present a unique situation. And, I applaud the whole group of you for trying to deal with this together. So for the reasons stated in those additional notations, I would vote yes.
Ms. McGinnis?
I echo the sentiments of my colleague. For the reasons stated, I vote yes. I also would like to applaud all of those who came and spoke out. I want to make sure we underscore the fact that the variance is from the property line and not the fence. And, I'm happy that everyone was able to agree to no chickens and no roosters. And perhaps because all of you here were able to work together, perhaps you could take this with your other concerns to other neighbors and work on your church music. I don't believe that the variance, the benefit could be achieved by any other means. I don't believe the change is undesirable for the neighborhood. Although I personally think it's substantial, I think that we can move ahead with this. I don't see any detrimental environmental effects. While self-created, I don't think it's determinative.
Mr. Dolman?
Yes, for the reasons already stated.
Mr. Trimarchi?
Yes, for the reasons stated.
Mr. Green?
Yes, for the reasons stated.
Mr. Hope?
Yes, for the reasons stated.
Chairman Goodman?
Yes, for the reasons stated. The variance is granted. I want to thank everyone for taking the time tonight to come to the meeting. We could call the next case, please.
The appeal of Hans and Judith Knight of 859 Pierce Road, Niskuna, New York, for a variance from section 220-13, Schedule IB of the zoning ordinance of the town of Niskuna for a two-lot minor subdivision on the property noted above. The property is located in the R1 Low Density Residential Zoning District. Section 220-13, Schedule IB, Column 3, minimum lot size states that single-family dwellings must meet a minimum frontage width of 100 feet. As proposed, the southerly lot has a width of 25 feet along Pierce Road. Therefore, a variance of 75 feet is required. 12 notices were sent out, 0 responses. We received a county referral and a planning board referral. The county deferred to local consideration, and the planning board had recommendation, effect on the comprehensive plan. The planning board voted 7-0. The proposal is not consistent with the comprehensive plan. The board stated that the 2013 comprehensive plan explicitly discourages the formation of flag lots. This is expressed on page 117 of the plan, which states that the town shall discourage the development of keyhole lots, long and narrow, that inhibit connectivity for emergency services and other roads within the neighborhood. Suitability of use, the planning board voted 6-1 that the proposal is suitable for the parcel. The board believes that the proposal was in agreement with subdivisions approved by the board in the recent past on Pierce Road. Notably, the board stated that the town's planning and zoning boards have approved 4 minor subdivisions applications since 2003 on Pierce Road, with each of them creating either a flag lot or otherwise non-conforming lot. During the review of each of these subdivisions, the board found the area's existing geography and the presence of wetlands were valid complicating factors in the creation of conforming lots in the neighborhood. Recommendation, the planning board voted 6-1 that the zoning board grant the area variance. It was noted that while the variance in question would result in the creation of a keyhole lot as defined by the comprehensive plan, the board also acknowledged that due to the presence of wetlands and existing lot configuration in the neighborhood, further road connectivity is already challenged to establish in the Pierce Road neighborhood. Further, the board stated that town's reviewing boards and committees in the recent past have cited the aforementioned reasoning to allow for the creation of keyhole lot subdivisions along Pierce Road. Because of this, the board believes that the area variance requested by the applicant is warranted and would serve a purpose that is consistent with previous approvals granted in the vicinity of 859 Pierce Road.
It was mentioned that there were 4 approvals since 2003. Do you know when those were?
I don't know the dates, but you have a map showing all the lots in the
I
vicinity.
was just wondering. if-
Laura might have the dates.
Yeah. Okay, I would ask if the applicant could come forward. Please state your name and address and the reason for the application and what you've done to mitigate any needs for variances.
Okay, I'm Judy Knight from 859 Piers.
And Hans Knight, same address.
We've owned the property for 28 years and raised our kids on it. And we're seeking the variance so that we can subdivide the lot, and where our plan is to build a home that's more suitable for, we're a lot older now than we were 28 years ago, something that's one level and it's more suitable for our needs. We're finding it really tough to keep up everything. And yet we feel we must. We're asking for a 75-foot variance to allow us basically a driveway into the back and then, splitting the lot in half. So we have, plenty of footage there. We didn't make it larger than that for 2 reasons. Number one, we have a pool in the back, which I never thought to put it on this little map here. We have a pool that's about 50 feet from our sideline. And also, we wanted to leave, if we sell 859 Pierce Road, allow somebody to be able to put an attached garage on if they wanted. I think that would be an asset to the neighborhood and an asset to the home. So we're kind of looking, what somebody else might want to do. That's the short and the long of it. I wish we could just take the lot and shape it around a different way. We've got, plenty of square footage, but we can't. The lots on both sides of our properties and across the street have been subdivided with the sort of flag lot configuration. One of them did have approval for a shared driveway, although one of the houses has pulled themselves out of that shared driveway. It still is shared by 2 other people, not 3 people now.
You know what years these subdivisions took place?
I know the earliest one was, I think, maybe 2006, and Greg's was 2016.
I remember discussions about them. I just don't remember.
Where it says on your little map here, it says existing house, that's where you live now?
Yes.
And what is your intention in terms of that? The house that's in back with the long driveway in back, that's where you're going to build?
That's what our plan is, because the house that we live in now at 859 Pierce Road, it's got, stairs, stairs for everything. Stairs go up to the bedroom, stairs go down to the basement to the laundry. And it's larger and it's not suitable really for us as we age. And I realized that, come to realize that a lot when my mom lived with me. I had my mom for 5 years and just trying to adjust the house so that, she could live in the house. We also do have differences in some of the floor levels. In the family room, we have to step down and, you can't get from the family room without stepping to get into the bathroom. So, as we age, we want to stay in this unit. We want to stay in our neighborhood. We love our lot. We love being there. So we would try to build something that's more suitable. I did, get a picture. I mean, it's certainly not, but something on this order that we would like to be able to build, where we would have 2 bedrooms on the first floor, maybe some expansion potential for the upstairs, but not.
That was a question I had because you were talking about wanting a ranch and then it says second floor expansion.
Well, we wouldn't use it. We're not looking for that. But we realize that we're not going to probably be the only owners of this house, for its existence. So I look for that too,
So is the
Would make
plan to
sense.
sell your existing?
Yes,
It's not like you have family moving in or something?
No.
The plan is to sell your existing?
Yeah. Unless my son decides to come back to the area, but he's not planning on that at this point. Oh, no, we plan to sell it and then build in the back.
So when you made up the plan for this subdivision, you worked with the planning office on this? Because you said like your hope would be that whoever bought the house would someday be able to put an attached garage on here.
That, yeah,
So do you know that there would be room for those
Correct.
people to do that?
correct. And the planning board, you know, they understood in that and they felt that that was a reasonable thing to consider. But what I hadn't remembered was a pool in the back, which is like 55 feet off of our property line. And that would, I don't think of the pool as a structure. but
It
I
is
think
considered a structure. Laura, is a pool considered a structure?
Yeah, yep.
Yeah, we had to get a permit and everything for it, and I just didn't even think of it. We were still here the other day, and I was like, oh my God.
Is it an above ground pool or below?
It's an above ground
And
pool.
you don't want to keep that for yourself when you sell the house?
No. Who knows if we put
It's
a new
awful
one in
nice in
back
the
there.
summer.
It is nice in the summer, but
Is there additional, if the keyhole lot is approved, is there additional approval that has to take place because of the, I thought I heard, and I can't find it in here, there was a concern in terms of the small roadway and the ability to get fire apparatus and whatnot back there. Does that still have to be reviewed?
Yeah, because they can't actually, it took them a little while to get through sketch plan because the planning board is, just like you guys, a little specific about keyhole lots. So they've got sketch plan approval from the planning board, which allows them to submit the minor subdivision, which then gets denied. So they actually don't have a full survey of the property that says, yeah, my pool is 55 feet from the property line. But essentially when they do minor subdivision application, it'll show, a survey will show where the driveways are and all that stuff. And they'll have to have the driveways and like, sort of making it up, but it has to hold like 75,000 pounds or something like that.
To get a fire in,
Yeah,
a
and
fire
it has to
truck
be
back.
16 feet wide, and it has to have clearance of like, I don't know, 16 feet high, or whatever. So all of those specifications go into the engineered subdivision plan, but they don't pay for that if they can't get past the configuration.
My question would be, you're keeping one lot at 150 feet, and the other one at 25. Could you do it, because 25 feet is very narrow.
yeah,
Well-
Could you do it even if you then angled so that you would have more frontage?
you know, we had talked, originally, when we submitted the plan, we submitted for 15 feet.
Like 860.
Because that was consistent with some of the other lots that had been approved. Then it was raised, to increase it. We looked at that and, you know, tried to figure out, yes, we felt we could do comfortably 25 feet to get it larger. And we're 150 feet in total. So we're looking at 25 for the right of way and 125 for 859. We had also raised, you know, well, yeah, if you wanted, you could do 50, you know, if this was the front of the property and you're going down to the, you know, 50 feet here and then cut back and, but then the planning board said they don't like that.
Okay.
Truthfully, it's not going to make any difference to the neighborhood, whether it's 25 or it's 50 feet. It's, you know, it's only gonna make a difference on a piece of paper. I don't know why you ever wanna, other than if it felt better being on the piece of paper, it was 50,
But we have to try to minimize the variances that we grant,
right,
so that we are doing the minimum necessary
yeah.
under the statute.
But it creates an odd lot, then two odd lots.
Laura, can you refresh my memory on when the comprehensive plan was updated?
2013.
I can verify, I sat on that committee and one of the issues was, this is a, because of the length of all these lots on Pierce, the desire for people to subdivide and create these keyhole lots, and as you can see from the schematic, there's a lot of them, with very narrow driveways to place what are otherwise landlocked sections to provide access to landlocked sections. And that's why you see in the referral from the planning board that it is and they're accurate, that it is not consistent with the goal of the comprehensive plan not to have keyhole lots.
So I'm a little confused still on the purpose is to have a single family ranch structure that'll be more suitable to you as you age to allow you to continue to stay in the community. And I appreciate that. How many square feet is your current home?
I want to say maybe 2,200. I don't really, I want to say 2,200.
Okay.
It's 4 bedrooms, 2.5 baths.
So it's 4 bedrooms, 2.5 beds?
Yeah.
And the new structure with the second floor expansion is about the same size, correct?
No, we wouldn't, in terms of, what we would be comfortable living with, we would be comfortable living with anywhere from, I would say, 1,400 to 1,600 square feet. No, 1,600 was mom's size. We're looking at 2 bedrooms, like a bath and a half, maybe 2 baths, one with a shower, one with a tub. And just 2 bedrooms, because it's just the 2 of us. Any expansion we would not do. I've been a realtor in the past, and it's not generally too smart to build a house that can only have 2 bedrooms, because most people need 3. So I don't think it would be in Niskiuna's best interest to build something that didn't have some potential for the future for somebody else, not us.
Have you investigated reconfiguring your existing structure to allow you to just live on the, one floor of the property?
Yeah, it really wouldn't work, because we have, the family room steps down, and it steps down to give enough space for rooms upstairs. It had been a bungalow at one point, and then we put additions on. And if we were to raise that floor so it would be all the same level, we would not have sufficient headspace, and our windows would be down here. So it won't work.
And just, I think this is obvious, but let me state the obvious. You have an existing driveway off Pierce Road to your current residence.
We do.
The intent would then be to use the 25-foot section to create a driveway to the lot, the keyhole lot in the back.
Yes.
So unlike, I guess, a lot of the other keyhole lots in the area, or at least several of them, there's no shared driveway or separate driveway.
A separate driveway.
Any other questions?
What is the distance between where the driveway is planned to the lot line on that side?
Well, the 25 feet goes from the lot line, and there would be a driveway within that. I don't think we're planning on making a driveway that's 25 feet wide, because that's tremendously
Mhm.
wide. I'm getting 3 cars parked.
If I'm understanding correctly, they're going to need to have a 16-foot wide driveway in order to accommodate fire, which means on a 25-foot wide, they'd be 4.5 feet from the property line.
Well, it needs 16 feet from shoulder to shoulder. I think the paved surface can be closer to like 10 or 12 feet, but it's a bigger driveway than normal to accommodate fire trucks. Yeah. But I think it's clear, like it has to be clear. So you can have like shoulders and grass, but the paved surface has to be wide enough for, fire trucks.
It is
It'll be tight.
the placement of, I know it's not there yet, but the proposed structure, I know there's, it at least indicates in the planning board referral, it indicates there's a wetlands issue.
That's across the street. Some of the keyhole lots that were developed were across the street. There is not a wetlands issue on our side of the street, but across the street, it does dip down quite a bit. And there was a lot of discussion as to whether there could be further development there, but, according to the, master plan or whatever, but it's not suitable because of the wetlands.
So on the keyhole lot of your proposed subdivision, there's not a wetlands issue?
No.
I seem to recall, and I may be completely wrong. You have no utility right of way back there either, correct? Okay.
Can you describe the topography and the location where the driveway is going to be? In other words, as you're going up the driveway towards where the new location would be on the left-hand side, is it flat there? Would it be sloped to the neighbors? And I'm particularly concerned about.
I mean, it's flattish with a slight slope.
Okay, that's the question I have, is whether putting a paved driveway in there could adversely affect your neighbors adjacent to the driveway and have additional runoff into that location.
I don't think so. And, you know, and even, I mean, in the back, the driveway's on a slope, and it will slope back towards our house.
And is it an upslope from the street or a downslope?
Well, towards the street, it's a slight increase, but it's
Okay.
not, it's nothing, it's pretty flat lot, but it does have a bit of a slope. And the reason why I know that is because when we had the pool put in, they had to make the one side of the pool, have to go down a little bit lower. But so, you know, but in terms of runoff, we're very sandy. We don't, our backyard is never mushy. I mean, after any amount of rain, or, you know, you could walk in there. We never had kids with muddy feet because of that, which is a nice thing. And there's no house, well, I shouldn't say no house. There's probably gonna be 500 feet between the house that we would build and the houses on Huntington. Maybe more, maybe 600, 700. It's quite a distance.
Yeah, there's another section of a lot.
Yeah,
behind
How
ours.
deep is your lot?
600 feet.
Are there currently any structures on what it would be the Keyhole lot now?
No.
No sheds, nothing back there?
No. If you're looking at a Google map, you'll see something that you asked it was a shed. It's a pile of wood that he had from trees taken down on our yard.
Yeah, I'm looking at something that looks like a couple of real small ones, but then some
Yeah,
square structure.
that's milled wood. When we had trees taken down, we had a portable mill come in and they milled them so that we could use that lumber and,
Okay.
And would there be any significant clearing that would have to happen to get the driveway from Pierce Road to the back lot?
no, just, you know, truthfully, we've thought of doing this for a long time. So, you know, as trees have died or things have needed to be pruned or whatever, we've kind of, you know, planned for that. Now, there will be a few trees that will have to have some limbs, you know, to be able to get a big fire truck in, that will have to be trimmed, but, and there's one tree that probably would end up right in the driveway heading towards the garage, but no, it's pretty open back there.
So if I understand, the benefit that you're looking to achieve through this variance is that you're looking for, to build a home in which you can comfortably age in place. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, good. Other than the obvious financial burden, is there any reason you couldn't build that home on the footprint of the house that currently exists?
Wait,
So obviously it would cost money to do, but is there any reason you can't build that home to age in place on the footprint of your home that exists today? So I'm trying to determine if there's another way for you to gain that benefit.
we would
Yeah,
probably
you
have
could
to.
do it.
It would cost money, obviously,
We'd
obviously.
have to tear off the addition that was put on there
Hmm.
and redo the whole foundation and raise that up and then raise, you know, because there is the step down.
Well, in actuality, what it is you're desirous of creating a subdivision. In other words, you want to create the lot where your current residence is so you can sell it and then create the Keyhole lot in the back. Because otherwise you could just
Right.
put a new driveway down the middle of your current property to the back, build a house back there. But the problem is you can't subdivide and sell the front lot.
Yeah. we would.
I mean, that's the reality of it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, we would. We would be-
You're looking to subdivide so that you can utilize what would be the back keyhole lot, give it for yourselves, obviously, with the new house, and then be able to sell the front lot. As I look at this, and I'm looking at the way the properties are subdivided here, there appears to be a keyhole lot, which is, I guess, maybe a driveway that exists right, or proposed driveway or proposed access to the rear keyhole lot that exists right next to your current house. Is that right?
Yes,
Wait.
Greg's, I think he's talking about Greg's
Greg's
driveway.
house Next door.
875.
Right, what would be 865?
Yeah.
Okay, I can't really identify, the numbers are all.
It's Greg's house.
Come up here and look.
Okay.
I'm looking at the blue
This is you.
subdivision where you've got the long,
Yes, there is, yes, this is the last subdivision that was done. This is Greg Gifford, and he built back here, you can see the.
right,
driveway
underneath the
down there.
numbers,
Yes.
right. And so my question really is, there currently exists on that long, the keyhole part on that long stretch that borders your property, there's a driveway there, right?
Yes.
Okay. And that goes to the access where the 865 is, that access is that? Okay. Thank you.
Other questions from the board? Anything else you wish to add? I would ask if there's anyone in the audience who wishes to be heard for or against. Sir, if you could please come up, state your name and address.
Yep, my name is Stephen Pavella Jr. I'm at 847 Pierce Road, directly next door.
Okay. Can you tell us what your thoughts are on the proposal?
Me and my wife are just wanted to see how close exactly things would be. For instance, the driveway, their house they want to build. We're not against it. We just want to know where it's going to be in relevance. And our only real concern is water. If they were to grade higher and water were to come towards us, if there's, what happens, basically? You know, that's where we're at.
How far from the property line is your residence at 847?
Could I look at your?
Sure, please.
So where,
The green, I believe, is where you are, the front green lot.
okay, so
Want to come up?
847 here.
Come up.
And this is them. Is this correct?
Yeah, so that's the lot as it is today.
Right. So me and my wife just want to know, you know, how close does this driveway come to our house and our fence? And then where specifically is their structure going to be?
So it'll be about 4.5 to 5 feet from the property line, because they need 16 feet of throughfare, that leaves 4.5. Not necessarily paved, okay. And then, so that means that leaves roughly 4.5 feet to the property line. Now, actually, I share the same question as my colleague here. How far from the property line itself is your actual house? It's just hard to see on this picture.
8 feet.
So you're pretty close. So your house is about 8 feet from the property line.
I'm comfortable with saying that, yeah.
Round number.
Mhm.
Okay.
Which side? Is your driveway right down the middle?
My driveway is roughly right there.
Okay.
When you say right there, half of us can't.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Between 839, so on your green, we're about,
And then there's a lot,
We're-
845, that must have a driveway that comes between those two lots.
there is basically a similar setup, I believe they want to do next to, there's a similar setup to what I think they want to do next to us and behind us. So our driveway almost touches their shared driveway, but it doesn't. There's a abrevieties strip.
Okay.
That's where we are.
So the keyhole lot that involves your property, or that group of properties, that subdivision, there's a driveway that runs right down through the middle between 839 and 847.
Pretty much, yeah.
And your driveway is on the side of that
what is, now, is that a shared driveway or is it unique to 845?
Unique. Mine is unique. So you see how this
Right,
black
right.
line?
Yep.
That's pretty much my driveway. And then this other black line for 839 is a shared driveway for 839 and 845.
Okay.
Did you guys
Do
understand that as
you,
well?
yeah, do you have water issues? Do you have water issues on your property from the shared driveway?
No.
And obviously, I am not as you probably can tell, I'm not a construction engineer or anything else, but I would assume that the same construction of a driveway for the proposed lot would be the same thing as the shared driveway on the other side of your property.
Agreed. It's not necessarily the driveway I'm concerned. I'm concerned if they were to, for instance, grade high and that changed direction of water flow. I'm not saying it's going to. We've never been through something, so we're curious, if that happens, what happens to us?
And this is the schematic that we were given of the placement of the house, which looks like this, I assume, is the driveway is 92 feet from what would be the back property line of their current, when this is subdivided.
Okay.
This is the,
Yeah.
do you have any idea, do you guys have any idea on the schematic that you provided, the length of your driveway, of the proposed driveway to your proposed road?
We anticipated being about 275 feet from the road to the beginning of the lot in the back. We are 600 feet as our lot.
Right. Do you have any idea what the length of your lot is? Just ballpark?
I'm in the ballpark at 200.
And what's the length of your driveway, your proposed driveway?
275.
So there would be, just to the end of the driveway would be another 75 feet, and then the house would be further back from that.
And that's fine. We just want to show up.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
You all have very valid questions.
Do you
I'm
have-
just trying to provide you some information to help.
Do you typically have water concerns on your property today?
No. we
Okay.
just
Don't want to. As a property owner myself, I would not want those concerns either.
So the way their property, after about 200 feet, it dives down. So I would say that most of the water would keep going that way. I just didn't know if they're going to build up, and then it changes that. That's
Sure.
all I'm asking.
So
And we
keep
can
in
ask-
mind that as a board, we can't say we grant the variance but don't change the grade. We grant the variance or we don't. Is that correct?
And then the planning board,
You can add conditions, but the planning board
Yeah,
and
but-
engineers.
engineers and stuff, like, our code says that you can't make drainage problems worse. You don't always get it 100%.
Okay, so what, for this resident, can you explain to him perhaps what, if for some reason this new driveway were to cause drainage issues on his property, what would his recourse be?
Well, I don't know that you
Yeah,
can-
that, no.
Okay.
I think more appropriately would be, as I asked Laura in a previous question, if this variance were approved to create this subdivision, there is still work left to be done engineering wise, because there's an issue with making sure that the driveway, because it's long and narrow, would be constructed in such a way to allow a fire truck to get to the back property.
Yep.
So there is going to be some engineering study that has to be done. I'm sure Laura could provide you information in terms of, you could express your concerns to the folks doing the engineering study. Hey, I'm concerned about this and this, and the folks are really usually very good about working with anyone affected in terms of what their concerns are and making sure that those would be reviewed and addressed and before any approval would take place. Is that fair?
Yeah, we can't hold our public hearing without zoning board approval, but we would have a public hearing as well.
So I just want to clear for myself, if we were to grant this variance, whatever is going to be built there will have to pass other hurdles as far as okay, thank you.
So I guess in that sense, you would have the opportunity to, again, be the planning board, right? Come before the planning board, which has additional review responsibilities, including an engineering study, to express the concerns that you would have, that it not create water issues on your property.
Yeah, yeah, other than that, we're for it, we're not against it. We just want to know how, those things that we talked about.
Appreciate your concern. Thank you.
Thank you for your time. Anyone else wish to be heard for or against the application? I ask the applicants if you have any comments with regard to what you just heard, and if you come forward.
One comment I want to make is we did go through the Conservation Advisory Board. That hadn't been mentioned before. It's not appropriate. As far as the driveway, the land, our land is a little bit lower than Steve's land. And there would be no reason for us to want to raise that up. The only reason would be if we were trying to shed water off on, possible water from that little 25-foot strip, that direction. Well, for some reason, our lot is like sand. So there would be no reason for us to want to put water in that direction. And it would, and raising it would be an added expense. So we would, right now, would follow the contour as much as we could and bring it back down.
Yeah,
To
well,
the
and
back.
creating space that were necessary. But yeah,
Well, yeah,
your
but we-
property is quite a bit higher than our property is.
We just
Mhm.
weren't sure if you plan on going higher.
This has been
No,
through an
but I
environmental
mean-
review of some sort already?
It would look
But yeah,
silly.
but it will need to be.
That-
Yeah.
Silly. It would, you
We just didn't know.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
Yeah.
but.
Thank
yeah,
you.
An engineer would have to draw that. kind of stuff
Yep.
up.
okay.
And, certainly we would raise, raise that with them and, as.
One.
Any other comments or questions?
Understand, thank you.
Hearing none, I would ask if anyone wishes to make a motion.
I'll make a motion. Even though I will make a motion to approve the variance, even though I love a good comprehensive plan and like to stick to the plan. And back when I was on the Conservation Advisory Committee, we had many grueling meetings where we agonized over the flagpole lots. And I'm having post-traumatic stress thinking about those meetings. I also am a big proponent of aging in place. And I would like people to be able to age in place here in Niskuna. I do not think the benefit can be achieved in another way. We've discussed many other options. Given the fact that we've made exceptions for these types of lots on Pierce Road and it surrounds this property, I don't think this is undesirable change in the neighborhood. To me, it's substantial, but I think that the other 2 points outweigh that. I don't see that there's any substantial adverse physical or environmental effects. And I guess it could be self-created, but I think the ability to age in place far outweighs that. For those reasons, I vote to approve.
Motion has been made. Is there a second?
I will second with reservations. I sat on the Comprehensive Plan Committee, and I will be honest that keyhole lots are not in keeping with the character of the community. I mean, we try to move beyond them and not create them. We understood the issue of landlocked plots, especially ones as deep as yours. And it was a concern. That having been said, on at least, I think, 2 occasions on boards that I've sat on, and I don't recall my votes on them, but we approved such keyhole lots, as is evident from the plot maps that you're looking at. So in that sense, it's not going to change the character of the neighborhood because we've, especially on Pierce Road, have approved other keyhole lots. I appreciate the goal that you're trying to achieve. Can it be achieved by other means? your goal can't be achieved and the subdivision, I don't think is possible. I think if you build in the back of your current lot somewhere and you'll have to put a driveway down the middle of it, you lose the ability to subdivide and to create a saleable front lot where you live currently. Is there an environmental effect? I think the fact that and I take the representations in good faith that there is not wetlands issues as we know exist on some of these other keyhole lots, I don't think is going to create an environmental effect. And is it substantial? I think it absolutely is substantial, but I don't know how you can achieve with, again, the unique nature of these lots, achieve it in any other way. Again, I have reservations because of the creation, but I think we've established a precedent on this board that I think I feel compelled to follow. So for those reasons and the reasons already stated, I'll second the motion.
Is there a discussion on the motion? Hearing none, I would ask if we could call the roll.
Mr. Ferrari?
Yes.
Mr. Dolman?
Yes, for the reasons already stated.
Ms. McGinnis?
Yes.
Mr. Trimarchi?
Yes.
Mr. Green?
Yes, and here's why. We have a comprehensive plan for a reason, but this is a unique configuration in the neighborhood. It's also not the first request of this nature. Also, I'm swayed by the fact that I too find it important that when, if at all possible, consistent with our comprehensive plan and our zoning board regulations, we allow people in Niskuna to age in Niskuna. You've built your life here, you raised your family here, and you're asking for an opportunity to stay here and enjoy your golden years. Also, I want to note that while not binding upon me, I do take seriously the recommendation of the planning board that in this instance to recommending to the ZBA, this board to grant the variance. So for the reasons stated, yes.
Mr. Hoke?
Yes, for the reasons stated.
Chairman Goodman?
I will vote yes for the reasons stated, and I will reiterate also the reservations that were stated with regard to the comprehensive plan and the general view that keyhole lots are really not the most beneficial in the town, but I also recognize aging in place as well as the recommendation of the planning board. So for those reasons, I will vote in favor of the motion. The motion is carried. The variance is granted. Thank everyone for their time for coming out this evening.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
can I make a brief statement about just what I think that something we may want to consider on on other matters in the future is that if we're going to grant keyhole lots frequently, that we should understand that we are de facto making a change in the character of the neighborhood so that that becomes determinative for future discussions.
Well, except that there's already many in this
I agree.
that
I
are
agree.
there, so
I
the
just-
characters may not be changed. So, okay. Any other comments? Hearing none, I would ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second? Seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We're adjourned. We'll meet again next month. Thank you.